Making your way in the world today takes everything you got. Taking a break from all your worries sure would help a lot. Wouldn't you like to get away? Sometimes you wanna go watch a movie with PJ. Lord, and he's always glad you came. You wanna be where you could see our troubles are all the same. You wanna go and watch a movie with PJ.
Happy Monday in day whatever of isolation and quarantine that we're all in. Welcome back to the PJ Campbell Network. Once again, we're on watch along number 28. I can't believe that this has even gotten that far, and yet here we are. We're doing the Iron Giant. I didn't realize just how much I love that intro still to this day. Like it gets me excited every time we're here, and it makes me so happy. And that's a good thing, because I'm going to be honest with you guys. Real quick, I'm going to soapbox a little bit. I'm your host, PJ Campbell. Welcome back to the network. Yesterday was a really, really, really hard day in the theater community and just in general for the whole industry as far as movies and television entertainment goes. We lost Nick Cordero yesterday. He had been fighting COVID for 90 days. He had a very young son who was a year old and who had just started walking the day before. He was someone that I had grown very fond of, thanks to his work on Bullets Over Broadway and A Bronx Tale and Rock of Ages. He was such a huge part of why I loved theater over the last several years, especially his role and work in A Bronx Tale. And yesterday he passed away after 90 days of fighting COVID. And this is me soapboxing just for a few minutes here. But guys, the stuff is really, really fucking serious. And our whole community is mourning over all of this. And if you don't want to wear a mask, I really don't know how else to tell you guys. It doesn't matter how young you are. It doesn't matter how healthy you think you are. He showed no signs of COVID outside of having fatigue when he went into the hospital. He was tested 3 separate times. The first 2 times tested negative for it to come back around and find out he even had it. And now he leaves behind his son and his wife. And it's just all so heartbreaking and so unreal. And my thoughts are with him and his family today. And I really hope you guys can see just how fucking serious this stuff is. He was 41 years old and leaves behind such a massive legacy, in my opinion. He was very new to the industry. Like, he came on the scene not even about 6 years ago. And now, he's already left behind such a great work. And yet at the same time, that is going to be the only thing we'll be able to remember him for. And it breaks my heart that we're not going to be able to see him more. If you've never seen any of what he could do, I can post links I did last night, just so you can get an idea of how talented he was. I won't say whether you can find a bootleg of A Bronx Tale on YouTube or not, but if you decided to go looking for it, you could see his performance as Sonny and how powerful it was and how great it was. And the world lost a really great man yesterday. And I'm very, very sad about it. Just incredibly, incredibly talented. But I hope that outside of that, you guys are doing well and you had a good 4th of July weekend. We crushed Friday night with Hamilton. I believe all of you who were watching were probably here. And we had a great time diving into what I consider one of the greatest triumphs of Broadway. And it was a lot of fun, and I was happy to have you guys. And who else was there with me other than Evan Degraff that night? Hello, sir. How are you doing?
You know what? I appreciate your solemn intro that we had. We need those every now and then. Florida just announced that, I don't know if Florida announced it, but there's a report going around that there's 10,000 cases among children.
Yeah.
Total in Florida. Children. Our youth is catching COVID-19. So guys, please be careful. That's all I ask. I understand you guys a lot of us are feeling that social pressure now. Like, you miss your friends, you miss your family. And I get that. And if you're going to do it, be safe about it.
Yeah. Yeah,
if you're going out to
absolutely.
the grocery store, if you're deciding to go to a restaurant to support a local business, I get that. Wear a mask when you're supposed to. It's that easy. It's
Just wear a mask. It really is. Just wear a mask. And I know that we're not alone in that. Also here is Pat Hogue. How you doing, buddy?
Hey guys. It's stating the obvious of this is a real thing that isn't just going to go away by ignoring it. This is about being productive. This is about, contributing as much energy and as much effort as you can to, not only care for yourself, but those around you, because this is going to be a collective effort on all of our parts. And, for a movie that is so optimistic, I think like there is a light at the end of this tunnel if we just stick to it and, we go for it. But that being said, like, I am really excited that we are watching this movie because I know we've been putting it off for so long. I know like we've had these movies in a row, but finally we get to start watching the Marvel Cinematic Universe starting with Iron Man. Like, this is really like,
Hey, Hogue, it's
Monday.
Monday means animated, not live action.
Yeah, but Iron Man's like, he's animated. The movie's live action, but I thought we were breaking the rules.
No rule breaking tonight, my friend. This is The Iron Giant, actually, directed by Brad Bird, not Jon Favreau.
I thought we were binging the Marvel Cinematic Universe tonight. I didn't even know
that you like the Marvel Cinematic Universe, Pat. Honestly,
they're my favorite. They're the greatest things to ever happen to the world of filmmaking, Evan. Now I canceled everything because I'm very busy to sit down and watch 20-something movies. And you're telling me
Disney Plus now.
You're telling me we're gonna be sitting watching this animated robot movie?
I'm telling you that you built a time machine out of a DeLorean? Yes, I am telling you. We're watching The Iron Giant tonight, and I am super excited.
Future in my face. You know what that does to me.
Hey, dude, it turned 35 just over the weekend. Happy birthday to one of the greatest films of all time, my favorite film of all time. But real quick, before we jump into this, Evan, can you take us through what we have going on this week? Just fire through.
All right. Tomorrow, Famous Last Words with Chris. It's going to be fun. I recommend everyone watch this interview live because I will be tossing him the most random questions possible to see if we can get him to stumble on his words. And then Wednesday, PJ, me, and Max and Alex were all going to be talking about the songs from Hamilton. That's really exciting.
I thought you were going to sing the names.
More musical. Front Center Menacing. PJ, you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, so we have Mr. Joe Iconis, who is one of my favorite working composers and playwrights right now in the industry, coming on. He did so many great musicals that Max has actually been a part of. And now we're going to get to sit down and talk with him. One that I'm very excited to talk to him about is his unauthorized Hunter S. Thompson musical that he's been working on, because I fucking love Hunter S. Thompson. So for me, that's very, very exciting. And I know Max is also very excited as well.
And then on Friday, this thing. What is that?
It's a pineapple.
That would be a pineapple. We are going to be doing a watch along of Psych the movie, because we're going to be kind of doing an entire love letter to Psych on the channel over the next week and a half, because next Friday as well, we're going to be doing a watch along of Psych 2 Lassie Comes Home, which I am super excited about. And then on Sunday, I know. And then Sunday, we're going to be doing a episode of the PJ Campbell Show that is going to be us doing the top 15 episodes of Psych. And we have pretty great panel lined up to do it as well. So I'm very, very excited. If you've never seen Psych, I really recommend you come and hang out and watch the movie with us on Friday. I think you're going to get a lot of enjoyment out of it. Even if you've never seen the series, it's a lot of fun. I know Hogue and Evan are not that familiar. Evan, you've probably never seen it. And Hogue, same thing. So I'm excited to watch this with you guys, James White as well, because this series means a lot to me. And I think the movies are really, really fantastic. And it's going to be a lot of fun and just a really good time.
It's like watching Iron Man 3 without seeing the other Iron Men. That's what that's going to be like.
Hey,
yeah.
You know what, Hogue? You shut your pants, because on Monday, one of the best superhero movies of all time, Brad Bird Month continues with The Incredibles.
That's true.
That's going to be its whole thing. I'm really hyped for that.
I am
Did
too.
you tell me to shut my pants?
That's right.
Yeah, you did.
Okay.
I don't know what that means either, but here we are. And real quick, before we jump into it, one last thing. Please make sure you go back and watch Suddenly Soundtracks that premiered on the 4th of July of 1776 with Chris Clark and Alonzo Duralde. If you liked our Hamilton watch-along, I think you're going to enjoy this just as much. It was a ton of fun, and they knocked it out of the park.
And one more thing. This is, and there's no graphic for this. I'm just doing this spontaneously. PJ and Evan think I'm going wild, but a good friend of mine who's a very talented director that I've worked before just released his newest short film. It's called Chickens. It's on his YouTube channel called Alt Horror. It's about police brutality and systemic racism. It's pretty like, it was going to be released on bigger channels, but they thought it wasn't the time, and he thought it was the time. So go support the film. It's getting a great reception. Alt Horror. Chickens. It's a really great film. I recommend it.
Awesome.
Also, guys, really quick, we cannot log into our Streamlabs right now because so many accounts are logged into Streamlabs. So if you choose like to send one in, let us know in the chat so we can read out what you're trying to say.
Yeah,
that's the real thing. I just tried to log into Streamlabs and I cannot.
Oh, well, that's an interesting wrinkle to the evening, but that is curiouser and curiouser. Otherwise, do you guys have anything else, or are you as excited as I am to jump into this really fantastic film?
You know,
now that I'm only watching one,
I'm gonna say this now. It's probably my least favorite Brad Bird film, but it's a 5 out of 5 still. That's how psychotic I am.
It's been a long time since I've seen it, so I'm ready to. I remember loving it.
Yeah, and I haven't seen it in a little bit either, so it's going to be fun to revisit it with you gentlemen right now. But here we go. I'm going to count down from 5. As soon as I say go, everyone hit play, and we are going to get into The Iron Giant in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and go.
And an immediate $28 donation from Michael K.
Mike, message me what your Streamlab is so I could read it out. You can just DM me, bro.
One, I love it when the studio logo is like specifically tailored to the movie that it's doing.
Yeah,
like it's not just the generic Warner Brothers, but it's like this animated kind of, because Warner Brothers did the animated version, which was Bugs Bunny leaning against the logo, and Brad Bird was like, "No, we're doing our own thing." And this was a movie that like it was their kind of really like their second big foray into doing animated films. But they already knew it was going to be like axed, the animation department, so they just let Brad Bird do whatever he wanted.
Right, and which is crazy when you think about it. And like even this shot early on, there's a little bit of CGI animation for a late '90s animated film, which is very, very cool.
Well, the Iron Giant's all animated or 3D.
I actually got to see this in theaters at a early screening. It was like a word of mouth screening when it was coming out, and I remember falling in love with it, but also crying like as a kid, because it was so not the kind of movie that I was expecting, because it was so much more emotional than I was expecting at a young age.
Well, and it's very dramatic and like is about communism and about like the Cold War, and you know, has like sexual themes. Like it's in that kind of Warner Brothers animation territory. That, but like a little bit more mature than even like Animaniacs or something.
Right. It's so crazy to me, man. Absolutely crazy to me. Yeah. And I think the animation is absolutely just so gorgeous.
It definitely has a certain palette over it, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, and it just shows how good Brad Bird's at character design, because even from like 2D to 3D, all of his characters feel so exaggerated in the right way.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean, and you're absolutely right about that.
It's like using animation in the way you should. The fact that you have this.
I gotta say, I've seen everyone in the chat being like, they've never seen Psych, but they're excited. And Matt Whitehurst was like, it's a silly USA show that it's got an interesting cast. It's got a great cast, and the movies have an even better cast with the originals as well.
Hot dog. Okay, you're hyping this up. I'm excited.
I know.
I love like ocean horizons that are not blue, like could be any color, but I love like a good autumnal or like seasonal orange glow. That's what I want my production company logo to be. It's just like a crimson horizon.
Well,
guys,
fall,
look, it's frozen too.
God damn it, Evan. I love fall. Fall is my favorite time of the year, and this really gets like that fall feeling and color, especially of like New York. And Fuck you, Evan. You know what I mean? Like, just so good. Just so good. It's a beautiful time of year. And of course, Jennifer Aniston being in this was so interesting.
Right.
Because, you know, at the time she was really only doing Friends. She'd do like a couple of movies and things, but she's great in this. She didn't do a lot of voice work, but she is great in this.
Yeah. Also the kid, Eli Marenthal.
Mm-hmm.
He's good.
Yeah.
Also, I didn't say it earlier, but the fact that this movie is 86 minutes, you gotta give it props. Like, it's in and it's out. Uh-oh.
Something that I think Brad, what makes distinct a lot about a lot of Brad Bird films is how, like, his voice casting isn't distinct, but it's all immaculate.
Well, he does it the right way, I think. Mm-hmm. I mean, sorry not to step on you real quick here. Was that the thing I've always liked about him is the thing we've talked about in the past is that he seems to cast in the right way where he's not casting names for the sake of being names. He's always cast for what he thought was for the best of his characters. Mm-hmm. Like, look at Harry Connick Jr. right here in this scene. Yeah. Like, what a random casting when you think about it, because Harry Connick Jr.'s got such a weird career up and down in a way, but he's fantastic in this.
Yeah. Well, and a lot of the guys in his Pixar movies are just like animators that work at the studio. Like, they're just like, you know, he'll bring in other actors, but like Patton Oswalt wasn't the biggest name. He was just perfect for Remy. And even Vin Diesel, like, was only in Saving Private Ryan and one other movie during this. He was a friend of, I think, one of the animators, and he recommended him to Brad Bird of like, Vin Diesel's got a good voice. You should try it. And it worked. And he's like, cool. You're no name, but let's do it.
Yeah, it's so good, man. I mean, there's a couple of other actors in this, obviously. John Mahoney, who we talked about when we did Atlantis, and Cloris Leachman is in this. Like, really just great casting.
Yeah. Dean is hot.
Would it be a hot take if you said this was Aniston's best performance? It's a little bit of a hot take. I don't necessarily disagree, but she's done some other great performances as well, especially in her indie runs. Yeah, exactly.
It's really good.
What was
also,
the one?
Really quick on Michael K's Streamlab. I don't see it, but we messaged. He said it was a paraphrase of his Facebook post, just saying, I remember when they used to air this movie on Cartoon Network all the time when I was younger, but I haven't seen this in entirely over a decade.
I'm really
I feel like this movie has the same effect that Cloudy with the Chance of Meatballs does. It kind of like exists in this realm of like, it grows on people, and it's there. Yeah. And it kind of will just remain in your head canon.
I love how like his 5 o'clock shadow is the same color as like his eyes.
Yeah. That turn and look she has. Does Harry Connick Jr.'s character remind anyone else of Ian Malcolm from Jurassic Park?
He's got the... Yeah, but he does play a bit more into the kind of artist vibe, whereas like Jeff Goldblum was like, I'm a cool scientist. And like, you haven't seen that before. Yeah.
It's the look.
The black jacket.
Yeah. And the glasses. Even though they're sunglasses. But
what's that thing he's twirling?
That's a phone cord.
What's that?
Oh my God. Back in the day before cell phones and phones not having cords.
No.
Is he making a homemade Twinkie right there, by the way? Like,
yeah.
Straight up brilliant. That kid's smart.
See, but like that's what you would do. Like you would think would be good as a kid, and then you try it, and you're like, oh.
Okay.
Wait.
Did anyone else watch Angry Beavers
back
in the day? So do you remember there was an episode where they watched a similar horror film that had like a evil brain and stuff? And that's what this is reminding me of.
That's a deep pull, man.
I know,
Angry Beavers.
I have that whole series on DVD. That I love the Angry Beavers.
I'm trying to think of the theme song.
Angry Beavers. I
just remember them walking.
Yeah, I think I actually have Daggett and Norbert stuffed animals still from back in the day.
That's beautiful.
But yeah, so that's what that reminded me of all the random things you guys could think of is Angry Beavers. Also, Cthulhu is joined the fray. He wanted to make sure he didn't miss the movie. So
welcome, Cthulhu.
Cthulhu's happy to be back.
Speaking of the Raygun he was holding. Brad Bird apparently has an unproduced script that he's been trying to make literally for decades that he thinks is one of his best. He wants to make it as an animated film, but it's called Raygun, and it's about like a detective in a noir future named Raygun. And like it's supposed to be like a rated R kind of like before Sin City was Sin City, like in the vein of like a hard boiled like. And he says like he threw a lot of those ideas into Tomorrowland, but like he still wants to make Raygun.
He might be able to do it at Sony Animation now because Sony's going to be leaning in on doing PG-13 and R-rated animated films for adults. So I'd be curious if he went over there because, I mean, I know he's been at home at Disney for so long now. Obviously, he's like the outlier being a WB production. But Disney's not going to do an R-rated animated film. So
I think something that makes me happy about Brad Bird and his directing style is you get the world immediately.
Yeah.
Like the first couple of scenes, you understand that the world that you're in and you feel you're there.
Well, and he like is good at establishing of like this is an animated world, but like this is the physics. These are where like it's like a squirrel can go up pants, but it's like people can't just like jump on roofs and like there's still like logic to like this world.
I love Malcolm right here. I just found out Eli was an American Pie 1 and 2 Stifler's brother. So yeah. Patty said that she was apparently confused which friend was in this movie because she thought Matt LeBlanc was Dean. I mean, look, around the same time, he was doing a Warner Brothers picture, which was Lost in Space. That was not that long around that fray of time. So
yeah,
that was around the time they also did Wild Wild West.
PJ, we forgot to talk about on Saturday. Chris Clark has something special planned for Family Game Night.
It's true. It's true. You want to talk about it real quick?
I don't know if I can spoil it yet, but let's just say I might be dressed up like Steve Harvey.
Yeah, there's going to be a little bit of feuding going on.
Question for the both of you. What is a animated film that feels more like a Spielberg movie?
Outside of this, you mean? Because this is like the obvious one.
Yeah. This feels the most like early Spielberg. Like I'd even like argue that like Tintin feels less like a Spielberg than something like this does.
Brave Little Toaster.
Ooh,
that's
not bad.
Yeah, Brave Little Toaster. Outside of that, there's not a lot of them that feel like his films because I think that a lot of animated movies. Oh, that shot right there, though, you guys.
Yeah, and already like the different animation style.
What is the timestamp, real quick? We are going to be in 10 seconds at 11 minutes.
The Great Mouse Detective. Is a Spielberg-esque animated film.
It's not bad. I think in the Disney
and we're at 11 minutes, Mike K.
Close.
Oh, I love this. Patty says I have my little bro watching with me for the first. It's his first time. I love that.
Nice.
That is awesome.
But I love how like scary this gets.
Yeah, the only other one maybe, and I mean Spielberg actually produced this was Monster House. That was the one that Zemeckis was also involved with.
Yeah.
Because that one's definitely got the Spielberg horror vibe, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to see someone do a full Spielberg like animated film similar to the vein of E.T. I mean, which is kind of what this is. But I mean, it's Spielberg, as we have talked about in the past, is so specific, and I feel like it's hard to replicate that, even to the point with Tintin, where Tintin's also partially live action because they did so much motion capture for it. You know,
there were moments in The Little Prince on Netflix I thought got pretty like, classic Spielberg.
There was remember the conversation about like how Star Wars has its own genre, like where he said something like along the lines of like Star Wars has its own genre. I feel like Steven Spielberg just has his own genre too.
No, totally. Yeah. Amblin is its own special thing, man.
Well, and that was working on a film in school. I was talking to my cinematographer, and I described a shot I wanted, which was like the slow push in on somebody as they build in intensity until they yell. And he's like, "Oh, a Spielberg shot." I'm like, "What do you mean?" And then I saw the first take. I'm like, "Oh yeah, a Spielberg shot." Like that. It's so. Yeah, he just has like a template that works so well. Ugh. So
just straight frames.
Did he get the dent when he crashed, or did he get it just now?
When he crashed, I think.
Okay. I want to like a robot friend.
We already
That's
have
just-
Evan.
Oh my god. Hey,
That was devastating.
You guys like when I go unhinged, and you know it.
I'm reeling.
how many Coronas have you had so far?
Nothing. I'm not drinking tonight.
So you're just straight up unhinged.
Uh-huh.
Oh god.
Oh, that's such a good kid scream.
Land Before Time is a good one. He produced that.
That's not bad.
Also, An American Tale, right around the same time. Because
Those
Flushed away.
those Jonathan Bluth movies, like a lot of those have that. Is it Jonathan Bluth?
John
Bluth.
Bluth.
Or John Bluth, yeah. A
John
lot of
Bluth.
his movies.
Well, because Spielberg was directly involved, and I think Amblin produced most of those, didn't they?
Yes.
Because I want to say they also did We're Back, a dinosaur story, also.
Also, can we talk about who names their child Hogarth?
Jennifer Aniston.
We have Pat Hogue right here.
Yeah, but
Hogarth.
I didn't get to choose my last name. Well, I could.
I mean, technically you could.
I don't know. Like that's a name I could buy.
Hogarth Hogue.
Yeah. See, that's the thing. If like parents who name their kids are like, did you not realize this at birth? Like they'd get bullied.
Am I as unhinged as Russell Crowe? God, I fucking hope not. Movie that's never going to see the light of day anytime soon.
Very curious about that one.
Me too. It test trained for a while.
Creepy. Do you know what Brad Bird's pitch for this movie was? Because like they were gonna make it. It was gonna be like influenced by I think Aerosmith, like their album, and like there's a book that it was based on. But he got the script and it was just like buck wild, like kind of crazy. And he said, one line pitch: what if a gun had a soul? And like Warner Brothers was like, all right, do whatever you want. That sounds cool.
The use of Cold War right here, by the way, is so interesting, and like the real fear of what the Cold War was like. I actually think it's something that Indy 4 gets a lot of flack, but I think it actually gets that Cold War vibe down a little bit too, especially the opening sequences involving the actual bomb town and stuff. Like you definitely actually feel the Red Scare, if you will.
It's crazy, like looking back and like seeing how much fear mongering was involved in the Cold War. I don't want to get too political, but like looking back and seeing, like,
are you going to drop hot takes about the Cold War, Evan? Like, what are we about to learn?
I mean, no, the movie
It's
had
controversial
to do with the Cold War, but like just the pure amount of fear mongering that happened during that time, and like we're actually able to look back and be like, wow, that actually happened.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, it's something I'm curious about as we move forward, because like I look at things like this, and now obviously the stuff that we're living through right now, but like my pitch for the Rocketeer sequel, if I ever made one, I told you guys while we were on the stream, Hogue, you missed it, but I think I told you before, is I would make one that's set right in the middle of the Cold War, dealing with the Russia scare, and, you know, age the movie up 20 years where he's been the Rocketeer for a while, and really kind of deal with that and turn it into like a spy thriller versus being like a pure superhero action film. I think
soldier of like Rocketeer.
Yeah. A little bit James Bondy.
You know, pulling in from like kind of the Last Jedi aspect of like, you know, if you're doing a good thing with this gadget, means a bad guy's doing the same thing with this gadget, and like, you know, what does that mean?
Exactly. And I mean,
Gavin, real quick.
I know Shooter McGavin one of the great character actors, by the way. I've always liked Christopher McDonald. Dude is stupid talented. Every time he shows up in something, it's always fun. You know, he's always been a great villain and stuff, but he can be great in anything, to be honest. Mike K says actually Amblin produced only 3 of Don Bluth's. I would be curious, which ones are they? Mike, you could probably tell us, because, you know.
Is it bad I don't know who Don Bluth is?
Yes, it's actually really not great, Evan.
He's an animator who made American Tail, like animated like tons of classic films, but did.
Got it.
I love Matt Whitehurst saying that the info video is going to like going through school teaching us how to handle an earthquake. Yeah, absolutely, and that's exactly what it was like.
The bite out of the car took me so off guard.
That's fair.
But like, this is the thing. Like, look at his face is 2 feet tall. It's such a good character design.
Was
No,
a very
totally.
quiet movie.
And
This
of,
movie is very-
the foreman, by the way, that was that's James Gammon. If you guys have ever seen the movie Major League, he's in that. He's great. He was another great character actor. One that I was a big fan of for a very long time. Of course, he's also in my favorite Western of all time, Silverado. Silverado, written and directed by Lawrence Kasdan. Great movie if you've never seen it.
I don't know if Spielberg is the right analog, but this also, like, How to Train Your Dragon really has those Spielberg-y vibes.
I'd give you that one.
That's a cool camera.
It is a cool camera. Is anyone listening to the Scrubs podcast here or just me? Because
It's definitely just you.
okay. Because they were talking about how when Brendan Fraser came on the show, he's huge into using Polaroid cameras and stuff. And so ever since he was on the show in that first season in his guest arc, Braff and Christina Miller started going around set with Polaroid cameras, and they just took a bunch of behind the scenes pictures because they wanted to capture those memories on Polaroid. So I guess like Donald Faison was saying that they just have boxes now of Polaroid pictures from the behind the scenes. And it was all because Brendan Fraser had gotten them to like want to take Polaroids on set, which I thought was amazing.
That's
That's
sweet.
actually really sweet.
Yeah.
Oh, blood. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. In a PG animated film in the 90s. I'm a little bit shocked right now.
Yeah.
I love that. Oh, and the animation of the trees going and stuff, just so good. And apparently Spielberg only did An American Tail and Land Before Time. And those are the ones that feel the most Spielberg-y to me, so that checks out.
Like,
the way he says that, man. So kid-like.
mimicking, like, big things, mimicking little things is always good. It's always, like, a good bit.
He's like a dog. That's what I like, especially like the little head tilt and stuff while he's listening.
Oh.
Oh.
I have Hogarth's teeth. Like, my 2 front teeth are this, like, not the same size. Evan, what happened?
Who knows? I don't ask a lot of questions.
I get he's just smaller in that picture, but man, they look the same.
Yeah. The little gibberish that he does right there is so adorable.
Do you know who did the character design for the Iron Giant?
I don't actually know.
It was Joe Johnston.
Oh, God, that absolutely checks out.
Mm-hmm.
The moment you said that, it was like, no shit.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Really bringing in the Rocketeer and Raiders of the Lost Ark thing that we were talking about earlier.
It's so interesting to, like, that pack of, like, creatives, all how they were, like, influencing each other, especially during, like, this time. You can totally see the influences of what they, like, focused on for their film specifically.
Patty said her little brother said he's like a dog just a second after me. I love that. This is the best. To your point too, it's something I think that gets overlooked a lot. Like the 90s actually had a really great run from like 93 to 94 on. I think that there was a lot of filmmakers doing some really incredible work in this frame of time. This obviously being one of them, but I mean, you look at guys like Zemeckis, who Forrest Gump used all sorts of technology that no one else was using at the time and things like that. Like there was a lot of really great filmmaking happening in the 90s. Look at Roland Emmerich.
I mean, Bubba recently, that restaurant was disappointing.
Okay, well, you know, it's a big chain restaurant. I don't know what you were expecting.
Well, it was based off of Forrest Gump. I was expecting better. I got some fish and chips, and honestly, they weren't that crisp.
I didn't get shrimp when I went. I think that was...
Their clam chowder is good.
Oof. Ooh, now I want clam chowder.
Me too.
Damn it.
You need to go to Boston or North to get good Campbell.
That was a good cut.
Oh, or San Francisco. Yes, that was a great cut, by the way.
And like this kind of smoggy day. You never see this in movies of just like it's just kind of just like it's not depressing looking, it's not rainy, but it's just kind of like
Dreary a little bit.
dreary.
Yeah.
Or blustery as Winnie the Pooh would put it.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I was talking about with the color palette. It definitely feels toned down, but you still get all the colors you need to.
Absolutely. You guys know what I want now as we're sitting here watching this?
What's
and
that?
I've been thinking about it. I want an
dump.
R-rated Cthulhu animated film because I want to see Cthulhu at the scale that I want to see it. Like, I'd be curious if you could do
Animated's not bad. They announced, I think it was either last year or this year, that Uzumaki,
that.
who's like it's Junji Ito, the manga artist that I talk about all the time, is finally getting an anime adaptation that looks pretty faithful, but also like really good for animated. I'm like, if you can do like that same kind of style, but for Call of Cthulhu.
Yeah. Well, the reason also I bring it up is Del Toro started talking about how he's still hoping to make it to the Mountains of Madness. So
If he can get Tom Cruise for that, I'd be like,
that's exactly what I said.
come on. I'll watch it with anyone.
I mean, I will too, but if you could get Tom Cruise to be in it, I'd watch the shit out of that so quick, dude.
He shot some of his next movie, Nightmare Alley, in Buffalo. Which
Oh,
is like
really?
an hour away, yeah, from back home. And I was like, huh.
That's awesome.
What
Again,
you
just
doing?
like a dog, he just starts biting and like pulling things apart that you're not supposed to touch.
But I do like how like Hogarth sounds like a dad of like, what are you doing? Like,
It's basically me every time I talk to Evan.
Okay, ready? Hogarth's mom and Remy's dad are actually dating. It's just not canon. And Hogarth and Remy are long lost brothers.
Evan, I don't know how to tell you this, but Remy is a rat.
Okay, Aaron, have you not watched the Bee movie? Bees and humans, rats and humans can date.
The way he does it, that's like me playing with Legos. Let me get this just right.
this is anxiety. So
I know.
Whew.
Who? What am I judging? Who judged what? I'm so confused. I don't think anyone judged anyone.
It
I
might
love
have been.
this.
It's probably explained. If he can like self heal, why doesn't the dent heal?
Because they're parts to a whole.
Yeah, I didn't have an answer for you. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So if his hand gets like blown up and destroyed, it can't come back. It's only if it's intact it'll like reset. Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
No. Maybe so.
Sorry, I was totally paying attention to what was going on.
No. No. Like it's a good part. This is
No, it is. It's a great part.
This is what Transformers should have.
Mike is right. A lot of the 90s filmmakers seem to be heavily influenced by pulp sci-fi comics and B movies from the 50s. Yep, I know. I agree, and that's why I like them so much. And I mean, they still are to this day because outside of Brad Bird, obviously, as we know, who was when he went on, he did this and then he did The Incredibles. But even if you look at, oh, shoot, why am I forgetting his name? Who directed Finding Nemo?
Andrew Stanton.
Oh, thank you, Andrew Stanton. Because he did John Carter, which he was like doing for. He wanted to make that for so long. So when you look at that, Jen says it's because compassion is not a weakness, and he chooses to be good.
What's up, Jen?
Yeah, and what's going on, Jen? It's good to see you. And we got Kale here as well. What's going on, Kale?
Welcome, folks.
Everyone's starting to pop up now.
Oh, those are such good, like, old man voices.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Man.
Where are we at the movie? We are about to hit 28 minutes and 5 seconds. In 5, 4, 3, 2,
The hand.
1 minutes. Jesus.
The devil.
He's so good.
Satan.
The way he's reacting is just my favorite.
Well, and typically how a movie like this is animated is that all the animators work on a different portion of each scene. And Brad Bird went to each animator and said, you get a scene, you get a character in this scene. Like, it's up to you. And it's like, you can totally tell that each scene has like an individualistic energy of somebody got to just like have fun with it.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
And again, they really are leaning on like this 50s sci-fi tropes and stuff like that, which is why I like it so much.
It's so strange of like, this is totally a period piece, but it like doesn't feel like one.
It's timeless in the same way that Raiders is.
Yeah.
Raiders clearly a period piece, but also feels like it could be happening now.
He throws the penny. And the whole cabinet falls down.
You know, it's a period piece too.
It's Michael Keaton.
Actually, 2 of them are period. All of Brad Bird's animated films outside of Incredibles 2 are period pieces.
Is Ratatouille a period piece?
Yeah. It came out in 2007. There's no modern technology in it.
What time is it set?
I want to say 70s probably.
Pretend you're. I like that line a lot, by the way. I don't, it's silly, but the pretend to be a gangster line just makes me happy. And again, maybe it's going back to what I was just talking about of my love for like Bullets Over Broadway and A Bronx Tale and things like that earlier on. Everyone knows that I tend to lean on like I like gangster movies and stuff, so it just makes me happy. It's a good line.
Wait, no, the first Incredibles isn't a period piece. It is for like the first 10 minutes. I lied.
And that's John Mahoney.
That flat top.
Yes, Jen, the fact that Raiders feels like it could be happening is a problem. I was more just talking about the adventure-y aspect of them doing things, but yes, that is not wrong.
Huh.
We could have done... Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead. Nah, mine's stupid.
No,
I was just going to say, I just realized we could have easily done a double feature with this in Atlantis, and it probably would have worked. Like, outside of the fact that he's in both of these, but they've got a very similar vibe. Look at that Lone Ranger knock right there. I like that. What were you going to say, Hogue? Sorry.
I was going to say, I was just trying to look it up. Yeah, Ratatouille doesn't have a specific time period. It's like the only thing people can agree on. It's not contemporary. But I'm like, did not cross my mind.
No.
It's timeless. It just turned 10. Fun fact.
Ratatouille?
No, not 10. It turned 13. I lied. It's become a teenager. That's Hogarth.
What a jerk. That dude is got to be in his 40s, and he's making fun of this kid's name.
See, Evan? He's on your side.
It's just mean.
Oh, double H2?
Man, I can just see him playing this part, even in live action, just because I know him as an actor so well.
Yeah.
And then I'm also like, but stay away from him because he's going to try to steal your grandma's house.
It is the thing of like I'd appreciate like as an actor, but it's like if I was him, he's like finally a role where I'm not the villain. All right, what do I look like? Oh. Yeah. Oh, okay. Okay, yeah. No, I get it.
Jen says because Ratatouille focused on the frozen food aspect, I was thinking the 70s or 80s.
Mm.
Interesting.
Just the fact that like it doesn't matter that it doesn't have a definitive time period, I think is so fascinating.
Yeah.
That's creepy.
What a weird thing to say. He kind of looks like Conan O'Brien, actually.
Yeah.
Conan O'Brien was an animated character.
Oh my god. He has the hair. That's like exactly Conan O'Brien's hair.
I know. I don't know why. Now I'm just thinking that we need to do this in live action and put Conan in the lead.
I feel like I could get the Hogarth hair.
You probably could. Imagine renting a room back then. Much different time.
Staying with strangers. Leaving your own house.
I mean, I do live with 2 corgis. It's like living with strangers.
Sure hope not. You guys are still the same dogs, right? Yeah.
Sometimes.
Okay, Hogarth's voice gives me big vibes of the babysitter in the first Incredibles.
This right here. Can we just talk about how?
Yeah.
Sorry, not to step on it, but the Action Comic stuff, man, just it makes me so happy. Look at that.
Man.
Yeah, Jen Kemp. Oh my God, that really is coded. Yeah, it totally is, and I am all about it. Atomo. I don't know if that Atomo one is one that they made for this, or if it was actually real, because obviously we know that the Action Comics were. The Mad one, obviously, also real. R.I.P. Mad Magazine, which no longer exists, and that breaks my fucking heart. I miss Mad Magazine, man.
I love how there's barely any explanation about the Iron Giant. It's just like, I love that mystery. And they have like the flashback scene and everything, but it's still so... That's such a Spielberg thing of like, you're only going to explain 7%.
Yeah,
and then,
That shot.
Well, it's an important part to me, because I think that mystery is so important, and it's something that I think sometimes we forget in modern filmmaking, is that sometimes it's better to leave things to the imagination and not overtly explain every aspect of everything. I'm looking at you, The Rise of Skywalker. Sometimes it's just better to leave things, let it be just mysterious. You don't have to over-explain every piece of information.
Yeah.
I agree.
This is one of those weird like properties where I'm like, if someone said they were going to do a sequel, I'd be excited for it, just for the fact of like, it's not obvious, but there is a lot of room that you could play with.
Right.
And it literally could be set in any time period. You could just be like, he just didn't show up until then. But it is kind of a perfect object of like, do you want to even touch that?
I wonder if Warner would ever actually want to go back to it, because, it's become a favorite now, but when it came out, it was a pretty big bomb.
Yeah, but it's also what was the weekend they released it? Like, they released it a very poor weekend to release a movie.
Stardrew, I liked Mad TV too. Not as much as I like SNL, but I liked Mad TV a lot. And, without Mad TV, we wouldn't have Jordan Peele, and that's a very crazy thing to think about.
Jordan Peele, one of the biggest wonders of Hollywood.
That shot right there, him holding the burger, really blending into the background.
A lot of these shots, like, you could literally just hang on your wall.
Mm-hmm.
He's gorgeous.
Kale says, how did everyone find this movie? This was a free summer kids movie staple in his town. Me, for sure, it was, as I said, I got early screening passes for it at a pretty young age and saw it like a word of mouth screening, because Warner was trying to get people to go and see it. And I think it was already tracking very low. So that's what I went to. I went to a sneak peek for it, and I've loved it ever since.
Wow. I was just a big Brad Bird fan, so I heard about the movie. I was holding off on seeing it, and then all of a sudden FSU, the movie theater that I work at, it's called the Student Life Cinema, we played it. It's my first time ever seen it 1 year ago. I haven't looked back since. It's so good. This movie's so playful.
Mike K said, and this is what he said earlier, was Cartoon Network. Jen, actually, to the point of what we were talking about earlier, says that she thinks that they do a live action remake before they did a sequel.
That's yeah. That's probably what they do.
Turn out like Earth to Echo.
Remember when the guys who did Earth to Echo ended up doing the second TMNT movie? Me too.
Did they really? The
Pretty
first
sure.
one's. I like the first one.
No, stop it. We're not having that conversation. No,
I like the
Bad,
first
Evan. Bad.
movie.
bad. No,
It's fun. It's a lot of fun.
no, it's not a movie.
I
that is-
turn away for 2 seconds, and you two are at each other's throats.
Matt Whitehurst
That's right.
said he saw this on VHS after it came out to theaters. I think this one had a clamshell VHS case, if I remember correctly. At least the copy I had. Guys, remember VHS clamshell cases?
Yeah, man.
Fun fact, I actually do.
Yeah.
Met a
So
lot
we-
of kids that don't. And that disappoints me. That was
CoffeeZilla.
cool.
That's a great line, by the way. I do like that was me having coffee the very first time when I had coffee.
An espresso. Yeah. So
Have
this,
I ever told you that story?
real quick, this was the scene that Brad Bird animated himself, which you
You can
can
tell.
tell. Yeah. But no, I haven't heard this story, PJ.
When I went to New York for the first time, it was like my 8th grade back east trip, because a lot of schools do that where you'll go to like DC and you can go to New York and places like that. And we tend to stay up super duper late, and we were in hotel rooms with no supervision, and the coffee machines were in there. So my friends and I started making coffee all the time and drinking it, and we're like wired at like 14, just out of our minds off coffee, just trying to stay awake all the time.
God,
And I had a coffee machine in my room from then on after I got back from New York.
I didn't start drinking coffee until like 17, and like, thank God, because that would have wrecked me as a kid.
It explains so much about me, bro.
An entire upbringing. Just squash him.
Oh, dude, Patty still got the old Disney movies in the clamshell cases. That's amazing. Mike's too. Jealous of both of you. You know, it's funny. Clamshell cases were kind of looked down upon, I think, for so long, and now DVDs and Blu-rays are all just in clamshell cases. Like, we came full circle on that.
Yeah.
Kind of like
Were they actually looked down upon? Do you want to like the ripping out your Blu-ray?
they take up space.
Just pouring the drink and going.
37 minutes later. That's a very SpongeBob sort of thing now.
Yeah.
SpongeBob does that a lot.
4 hours later.
Just rewatching Independence Day the other day, you realize Harry Connick Jr., again, such an interesting career, but like very talented dude. Just he could really do anything if he really wanted to.
Who is he in Independence Day?
He's Will Smith's co-pilot friend, the one who ends up dying.
It's a name I've heard a lot, but I can't put that to a face. But it seems like he kind of like really fit into that kind of niche of just pop in little role here and there.
Because then after that, I think he became most famous for doing, I think, is it Dharma and Greg that he did from then on? And he did a couple, like he did several seasons of Dharma and Greg. I understand that, Jen. I get that.
Bro, Hogarth. Don't go to sleep with your jeans on.
Wait, Harry Connick Jr. is on American Idol now? What? Is that real information?
Probably.
I have to look at this now. Now I'm confused.
I didn't remember because I knew he ended up staying in the house. I didn't know how he did. This makes a lot more sense. I'm like, oh yeah. I was like, is he dating the mom?
I mean,
But now I remember.
he probably tried.
Oh yeah, apparently he appeared on American Idol back in 2010, and he was a mentor for the top 5 finalists. Okay, I mean I know he does music and stuff too, and then apparently he came back in season 12 and 13.
As a judge?
Yeah, wow, I had no idea about that. Harry Connick Jr., man, what a career.
Oh, the sandwich looks good.
Oh, this montage is so good.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure I also just gave everyone way too much American Idol information that they never needed. But I appreciate now that I know because I had no idea. He's so good. Yep, exactly, Garth. Like I said, he was also in Independence Day. That's where this whole conversation stemmed from. Jen, American Idol is still on. Also, I missed this. Apparently, some people are on your side with TMNT, Evan. So there you go. Kale.
We love to see it. Thank you, Kale.
Wait, does someone not like TMNT?
The newer one, I don't. I hate the new two.
Yeah.
That scene where they're sliding down the mountain, it's so good.
You get him, Hogarth.
I want a milkshake. God damn it.
Yeah, gosh darn. Like,
You
there's
want
nothing.
You want one with the laxatives in it?
I'll take it. It looks good.
You know, you don't see those that often anymore. Milkshake diners.
That would be a big like family thing we'd do. Is just like go to like a local burn and dairy and just get a good like I would get a caramel milkshake of just like vanilla cookie dough and like caramel swirled in. God, guys, I want ice cream.
Might go have some ice cream after this. My delicious keto ice cream right now.
Keto.
I said keto. Thank you, Evan.
Keto, so you can enter ketosis.
Brad Bird's really good at like outbursts. Like
He
he's
really
like
is.
really good at like everything's fine, then it's not.
That it kind of
His two biggest things are world building and character.
I actually really like that. It reminds me of The Incredibles a little bit. That sequence where Bob is sitting there and he gets blown up at his boss because he clearly helped another person, you know, get around the company policies or whatever.
Yeah. Bob's, don't tell me. If you take one step out of that door, you're fired. Fired. Fired.
What's that from?
The Incredibles.
Yeah. All right.
Undignified.
And I like movies where like kids have relationships with adults where they both talk like adults. Like,
It's
that's a
Christopher
very
McDonald. Yes, it is. It's Christopher McDonald from Happy Gilmore. This is so great, by the way. This would be a very Spielberg type of thing, too.
Oh yeah.
How is he not sick? I'm getting sick watching this.
The sigh.
He's such a realistic kid.
He really
Like
is.
you can tell he doesn't have a lot of friends, but like he's really creative.
I know what that felt like growing up.
Hey, look where you are now
Exactly.
with friends.
Oh, A113.
Yep.
How terrifying would that be if like chunks were taken out of like large things around you. You just woke up and it's just like there's a trail of like destruction and mayhem.
I'd
like
be
no
concerned.
clue where it's coming from.
I feel like our modern day chunks have been the number of fireworks that have been going off recently, and not even like around the 4th of July, just the number of fireworks going off. Period. Those are our chunks.
Yeah, but it's not to the point where it's like just white noise. Ow!
It kind of has, to be honest. Like the fact that it's worldwide, that there's so many fireworks is not worldwide, countrywide is fucking crazy.
And I like
He wants his beer.
see, but like Dean's like a cool dad.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, he might not be the most responsible, but like he'll respect your kid. He'll like actually be like engaged with them. You just might not want him to like babysit all the time.
I love how there's a blue tint, there's a blue outline
just-
on fucking Hogarth's body.
Yep.
Just the attention to detail.
It is also like Brad Bird worked on the Simpsons for a long time, and you can totally like feel that influence here too.
He really put the paper over his face thinking that would help.
See, this is just like this is good. This is just like good stuff.
It's just fun. I love how quiet this movie is, and I know I've already said it once, but I think the lack of score really just like helps the characters drive the story forward.
So real quick, Tron 3 looks like it is actually back on the grid, if you will. News just kind of coming out, which I think is really, really awesome. And that's me very happy.
The Tron movies.
I love the idea of going back to the grid in any capacity. So I hope that happens.
They'll do it, I think, and especially with Disney trying to like distinguish whenever theaters come back, what is a Disney Plus original in terms of like films and what is a feature film. Like it's stuff like that that's going to just be more discerning of we need to bolster content one way or the other. Like Tron 3 might not be safe enough to put in theaters, but like what's a digital version of that, which kind of like could fit into like.
Well, the article specifically says that they had a TV show in development, but they scrapped the show to focus on a movie. So
I'd be down for it. I'd see it.
They clearly want to go back to the grid on the big screen, which, I mean, look, you do it. I'm going to be there.
Tears like, I don't know what this is. This is beyond me.
I'll say this now too.
You should watch Tron, guys.
With the Disney Plus stuff that's been coming out recently, I'll even point towards something like Artemis Fowl. I didn't hate Artemis Fowl. It's a great kids movie. Like that's something that I think a lot of kids are going to get a lot of enjoyment out of. Now, I don't know much about the Tron, franchise. However, if you make something that at least a good chunk of the audience will like anyways, you're doing good. You know what you're doing.
This scene wrecked me as a kid. Ugh. Him seeing it and like what that means is just so.
They when they originally wrote this scene, it was going to be that the Iron Giant accidentally kills the deer,
Right.
and they tried writing past that, but they just realized they could not have him get over him physically killing the deer. Like he's just too pure of a character to like.
And he also has to learn what that means too, though.
Yeah,
like, this is for him because he's learning what that means, and that's now a part of his system.
it's just so smart of like Like, that's just, characterization. Like, this is all just so well paced, so well done.
It moves so quickly too. Again, like a very brisk 86 type minutes. So
I wish we all had a friend like.
imagine being a
Just not
kid.
someone with the name of a friend, Hogarth.
Imagine being a kid and actually having this sort of speech. You know? Oh, God.
I hope he saw The Lion King before this. Before he gave the speech. That would have been impossible. Never mind. Because this is during the Cold War. Damn shame.
Wait, you mean the character in the movie? Hope saw
So
The
then-
Lion King?
So then he could explain the circle of life. What's up, Max?
Oh, Maxwell in the house right now. And Patty said everyone should check out Pop Culture on Disney Plus if you haven't. They actually talk about Tron in one of them. Maxwell appears.
I like
Spoke
that
like
Max's, his profile picture is him upside down. That's cute.
It's like he's Curious George, and I'm literally this on upside down.
That was a pool, Evan.
That was it was a little sweaty, but we got there. Like,
It's the best movie song of all time.
okay, don't wait in the shed.
He's such a creep. Like, imagine locking a kid in a shed just to try to get information from him.
It's the 50s.
Yeah. It really is. That's me. Literally every night I record so you guys can see my lit up face.
Yeah.
I
me too.
have a light that's not a circle light, and I swear to God, I'm gonna be blind by the time we're done with all of this.
I just have to increase the brightness on my screen.
On your screen.
My screen.
I really love the framing of this sequence, by the way. The way that they do it is just so great.
Jeez.
What a freaking asshole to try to hold the mother hostage in this situation. Like,
But why too? Like, what good does this do you in that in this situation?
because he's playing on his emotions. He knows what he's doing, but it doesn't make it right. It just makes him more of an asshole.
Well, and this plays so much into the Cold War, like, hysteria of who is we?
Yeah.
We, like, the greater body.
Yeah, and who are you serving in giving that information and stuff like that? You know, like, are you with us or are you against us? And who is that us?
Yeah.
What do you stand for? What do you fall for? I'd rather be divisive instead of decisive. Indecisive.
You got there. You got there.
Drop the niceties. He really put chloroform on him.
Yeah, he really drugged him.
But Hogarth needed this good nightly because he's now stayed up for like 36 hours or some shit like that. He never actually went to sleep.
Yeah. Wait, no, yeah, he should not be doing it. Maybe, Dean had more espresso.
I could have used an espresso right now.
That's a good line. Don't get cute. I remember this shot coming up always freaked me out. The nails in the window.
Yeah. Well, it's just so insidious. This dude is just so not. I mean, again, just not a good guy, and really just the power play.
Yeah, it's not even that he's evil. It's just he's just kind of sniveling in a really sad way of like, you really have nothing going for you except this, don't you?
Yeah. Him putting the helmet on. Me as a kid. Helmet, glasses.
Rosy
down.
cheeks.
That subtle shot right there too, where it goes over to his alarm clock and you see the picture of
the dad.
It's just so good.
Yeah. which is another Spielberg thing of like,
Yeah.
missing dad. And
E.T., great example of that. Jennifer Aniston's voice, and I know that we got very quiet as this scene was playing out, but it's just so intense in the way that it's done, and it works so well. But the way she says that, again, pitch perfect delivery, she's so good in this movie. What an interesting choice for her.
Well, and she's not relying on her, like, especially friends, Jennifer Aniston, like, isms. It feels like a character.
Totally.
I feel like and maybe I'm saying this in the wrong way, but I feel like if Aniston actually pushed herself more as an actress, like in dramatic roles and stuff.
I think you're pushing yourself the wrong way because she has done a lot of dramatic work that you have not seen. If you're saying that,
I know. Girl Interrupted is one.
She's done a lot of, again, to Hogue's point earlier, Cake is one that is excellent. There was one she did back in the early 2000s with Jake Gyllenhaal that's really great too.
Which one's that?
She's having I think she's married to, who is it? John C. Reilly, I think, in the movie, and she's having an affair with the young Jake Gyllenhaal.
I gotta look this up.
Yeah, type in Jennifer Aniston, Jake Gyllenhaal, and you'll get the movie.
Girl.
But also, like, the movies like I've seen her in, or like We're the Millers, just go with it.
Well, it's what I'm saying, but she's done a lot of dramatic work. Such a great way to play Mansley. What a line. Cale had brought up that when he saw this scene in theaters 3 years ago, he forgot about the scene with the deer. And with, like, them showing the weapon, he said how ahead of the time the movie is. Absolutely ahead of its time.
I like that she's, got an appreciation for art.
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of shows like she's on the same wavelengths as Dean.
And it just shows that they're, kindred spirits in a way. Just because she works at a diner doesn't mean she can't also like art. Something that people look at as a weird thing. Like, they look down on people who work in, low end jobs, and yet they can't, and they think they can't appreciate art. And that's not true at all.
Or do serious jobs, period.
But
Well,
just like,
oh, sorry, go ahead. Oh.
I was just gonna say, like, there's so many versions of this where it seems like she'd be faking it to like seem like she's interested, but like this one, it's like, no, I could buy on like her spare time. She like has talked to Dean about, art and like had these conversations.
Yeah, it's definitely a level of classism that exists still.
Well, it's also not just classism, but it's also just looking down on people because they think that they're not educated enough to enjoy art, and that's a bad thing too.
Tama.
Yeah. I love that.
Like, I could hang that on my wall. There's so many of those shots. I'm just like, yeah, I can hang this on my wall.
Totally. Star Drew. Yeah, it is. That is John Mahoney. Yes, he was from Frasier. He was Frasier's father.
be mean.
Don't be mean to him. Such, again, great dramatic work for an animated film in the way that it's handled and making him the weapon like this.
You can't blame Dean for his reaction here.
No, you can't, but you can't also blame Hogarth for how he sees him.
Yeah.
But and it's like enough has been done to like set up these symbols for him.
Also, shout out to this Cold War imagery right here. Literal Cold War. Cold War.
You mean snow?
Yeah, but you get the idea.
I get it. I'm sorry.
And I'm here for it.
I was being sassy.
Mm.
But just like there's no fat. Like, just go. Fine.
Yeah, and the fact that they have Dean realize so fast that you could sit on that for a while and like really drag it out, but they don't. And it's what the first thing he does. I'm going to take you to him. This is the fastest way to get here. You know, like brilliantly done very quickly.
Hey, sport, give me them. I want to see.
Where do we think this movie took place? I'm gonna say Connecticut.
Feels like upstate New York to me.
That's a good question. Dumb kids.
So really the same thing.
Where? Shut up.
They really are.
No, they're not. Shut up.
Upstate New York is New England. I won't hear otherwise.
As someone who lived in upstate New York, shut up.
I did too.
Well, I disagree. Where does Iron Giant take place?
Their faces as they see him. It's friendly.
Maine, which is that's
Maine.
the same as like upstate New York too.
That little shot of him being so shocked just makes me laugh.
How are you not checking your mirrors though? Like honestly, they're bad drivers.
It's a big old robot.
But I'm saying, why aren't you checking your mirrors? You should know that it's there. A good driver would have known it's there.
Yeah.
But it's the military, so I can't.
Can we just talk about how cool Dean is that he also rides a motorcycle? But guys, if you ride a motorcycle, wear a helmet.
Yeah.
Just saying. Wear a helmet or you're going to, have an accident. And then for better or worse, you're going to be like Gary Busey. And we like Gary Busey, but.
So Hogarth just became the coolest kid in this town, right?
Yeah. And then, of course, what does the military do right away? God damn, they just start friggin' shooting at it. And this is a very Spielberg sort of thing, too, to just have military jump straight into attack. Again, look at E.T. in the situation in that.
But like the gunfire.
The fact that they're so willing to just start shooting up the town and stuff, it's just...
Beatnik. Suck on an egg, you beatnik. By telling him there's... Oh, that's even worse.
Yeah, Patty says you got to love that the townspeople don't start running scared. They see him and they smile and accept him. Absolutely. Whereas everyone else overreacts very quickly. Garth says some scenes look exactly like where my parents live in Addison, Maine, where the dad makes sculptures out of at junkyards. That's awesome. Mike says guns kill. Hey, Hogue, here's your Iron Man moment.
It's already gone, PJ. I'm holding out hope for another time.
You can fly.
See, that's cool.
What a great shot.
Brad Bird's really good, especially in this and in Ratatouille, about scale.
Yes.
Of like having like size mean something.
Paris, baby.
And that's exactly why I was thinking Cthulhu animated film would be so interesting because of that. Evan, we've had this conversation with you before.
I know we have, but I slipped my brain.
Just look up Cthulhu.
There's a lot there.
There's a lot, yeah. We like the creature. H.P. Lovecraft was a trash person, but we like the creature.
It's like he channeled his fear of people into his work.
A little bit.
Oh, that's right. You like that Demigorgon.
Oh, God.
I don't know how to describe that thing. Creepy looking.
Does this look creepy to you?
Raise it up. Let's get a look at the whole. Yeah, it does.
I don't know. I think he's pretty cute. What do you think, Hogue?
I think he's cute. The red eyes look hypnotizing in a way I like.
Who sent it? It was the Russians. The Russians sent it.
Oh, his face right here. Yeah, exactly, Garth. Cthulhu is an elder god.
Demigorgon to me.
Military ruins everything. They're very different. Please, Evan. Yep, absolutely. Government's got no proof that he's hurt anyone. He doesn't attack back, but let's keep shooting at him because that's the thing to do.
And that's what we like to call imagery right there. Imagine seeing this as a kid because like you learn to grow this character throughout the movie, and then you see him in this state. I think you become just as scared and just as worried as Hogarth does in a second here.
Sure. And this scene is crazy. Like, look at what he becomes, man.
A Demigorgon.
I think the design is very War of the Worlds-esque, by the way.
Yes.
The way that the things come out of his back, it really does feel like a War of the Worlds type design. You know, they attacked him first. Can we just point out that? And now they're running scared because they're like, oh, God, we could die from this. And it's like, yeah, well, why'd you attack a thing you don't know?
Well, and he thinks they killed Hogarth. Like,
right.
He's got...
Also, I do think that like this points out that like not war specifically, but like military and corruption is like it's more complicated than you think because the general trusted his top resource to all this, and as you should. And you know the agent would go as far as it takes to destroy the thing that he doesn't even understand. But if the general got the right intel, the general I think would have taken a different direction. But when you hear something's killed a kid.
Well, it's also about prejudice, right? Because this is a Cold War set film about deciding what is evil without understanding or just assuming. And that's what it is. That's interesting. And the fact that they're so willing to use the kid as bait is just icing on the cake of acting out in a very stupid way to try to get what they want.
Oof. It's such a smart design choice.
Totally.
To like have him be gray the whole movie, and then when he gets scary to have these touches of other colors to really show like there's more to him than you think.
Absolutely.
Rogard.
And also, we haven't really talked about it, but just the lighting through this whole sequence, by the way, where the sky is red, where there's a hue of red to everything to really heighten the danger. Oh, it's so good, man.
The Red Scare.
Yeah, exactly. Garth has a cute Cthulhu pop. Garth is the best. Patty says, I was about to say, everything he's done now is a result of going on the defensive, and his best friend's been hurt. He's not at fault for that. Absolutely.
I do think this is Brad Bird's most simple film, but in a good way. It's so elegantly done between like its character and its conversation about humanity too. That like simple is good in this case.
Totally.
It is Henry Connick Jr. You should listen.
Mansley's been a moron up until this point. I just wouldn't trust him about anything he says.
Well, he can't let his ego go.
Right.
Like in this moment of what the general says to him. Die, Mansley.
Well, and again, to the point of this is exactly everything we've been talking about, right? Like overreacting and deciding that this is what you need to do because you think it's going to get you farther or it makes you better. And that's just...
The for our country thing is like such a line that hits. Because, like, you know, we, especially like right now, like with the 4th and everyone's talking about sacrifice and whatnot, but like the whole for your country thing, the general was saying that specifically to Manzi.
Yeah.
Just hits.
But he was almost saying it like sarcastically.
Yep.
Exactly. God damn. I'm not ready.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Patty makes a good point. Speaking of the Red Scare, the person that is most frantic about destroying the giant is the redhead. Yeah, the symbolism's not very subtle in the right way. This realization of what he's going to do.
Go.
It's amazing that this might actually be Vin Diesel's best performance, and I don't mean that as a slight. I actually think he can be a very good actor when he wants to be, but it's the way he says these lines. It just works.
This reminds me a lot of the ending to Wreck-It Ralph.
Yeah.
And I get the same like punch of like, he's doing it.
And right here, I love this because this is the very clear actual Superman reference to like the Donner films and stuff like that, where you would see Superman flying outside the world, you know, sphere and things like that. God, the way he closes his eyes, just accepting what's about to happen. Subtle filmmaking. Oh, Patty's totally right. Reminiscent to E.T. and Elliot's Goodbye. Absolutely. Again, to the Spielberg references. Hey, Matt, I love the Fast and the Furious franchise. So, you know, don't get me... I'm not taking a dig. I like those movies a lot. I think he's very good in those, actually.
Vin Diesel's made a lot of money off of the Fast and Furious franchise.
Well, he also originally came back to the third one. This is like a conversation for another day, but also so he could make another Riddick film. So I always thought that was pretty cool.
And he's Groot.
Yeah. That right there, by the way, where it looks like the North Star and like just it's a cross. He sacrificed himself.
Oh, shit. I didn't think about it like that.
It's a little glint in his eye. Ah, a bird.
So good, man. I love that statue. I want a replica of that statue.
There's probably one that exists.
Maine. Hey, there we go. Rockwell, Maine.
Hell
It's not just Stephen King stories you got there. It's good old wholesome animated films.
Yeah.
Oh. So Jennifer Aniston and Joey, because he looks like Joey from Friends, end up getting together. What a twist. Rachel and Joey get together.
Oh, he has friends now, guys.
He just stepped on a kid's head.
Well, we've all been there. You know what, man? If you did a sequel to it, could you imagine if you did it now and like you aged it up where Hogarth is older now? I'd be very curious.
See, I don't know if I want Hogarth in it. Like, I think you can do something else.
I mean, you might not be wrong, but because he has the part and stuff, I'd be very curious, you know?
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, I can't think of like
if the Iron Giant ended up in a different civilization period, like on a different planet.
Well, see, that's what I think like the ending implies, which I really like, is just he's just gonna keep doing good things. Like he's gonna go from place to place now. And I like the ambiguity of it.
Yeah. Also, you got to shout out the general for after everything, he actually sends Hogarth the piece. Like,
which is like, that's complex alien technology. I don't know if I'd trust that to the 13-year-old, but
well, the way I think about it too is it's also literally making peace with him after what happened.
Yeah,
which is a weird.
We destroyed your big robot.
Yeah,
but it would be like if that was real life. It's like, oh, that is in the deepest bunker in Area 51. Like we are experimenting on this screw.
Right. What a great tracking shot, by the way. All of this. And it's so optimistic that he like survived everything and you just feel good, man. He'll
be in Ready Player One.
Yeah, and again, you know, the thing I love about this so much is that it is fast. I mean, it's an hour and 19 minutes going into credits.
Yeah.
Like it's just very concise, very tight, moves quick, doesn't waste any time, and you can tell like it just works so well. And also, I love the score. This score is so good. I'm gonna start with you, Hogue. Now that we've revisited it, what are your thoughts overall?
It's like, and it is kind of just that perfect object of you get basically the bare essentials of what you need, but the confidence in the filmmaking and the artistry is what kind of elevates it. Of not answering questions is so much more fulfilling than answering questions. I don't want to know where the giant is. I don't need to know what happened to Hogarth's father. I don't need to know what like Mansley's like chip on his shoulder it came from. It's like these characters are strong enough as they are to like just be dropped into the story. And it's, that's you just set up an emotional arc and you don't need much and it just pays off like a slot machine. Like, yeah, great movie. Like this is like a good like screenwriting of what do you need for a story? This.
Well, yeah, and it's about knowing where to go and just take things in the right direction, like you don't have to outstay your welcome. And that's another thing that, we talked a little bit tonight about how we think that sometimes filmmakers get lost in what they're trying to do. Sometimes they outstay their welcome. Like not every movie needs to be 2.5 hours either. And I'm not against long movies. I love long movies, but when Michael Bay is making Transformers 4 and it's 3 hours long, I think we might have a little bit of an issue about what we're doing right now. Not to throw anyone specifically under the bus or anything, but I like that movies like this feel very concise and very contained and very quick. Like they know exactly what they're doing. Get in, get out. Let's make it happen. And I love that for it. Evan, you said this is maybe your least favorite Brad Bird film, but you still love it. What are your thoughts now a year later?
It definitely like what I really like about this movie. It's definitely like it's definitely like a director's first film. You can see it in the ambition that it's trying to accomplish, yet like the reservation of telling a deep, complex story with a bunch of webs. No, it's like I have this story I want to share, but I also have a message I want to share behind it. I think the characters are great. Hogarth's arc specifically is really interesting because you see him become more social, because the only social life that he gained that we knew about was in the diner with his mom. So he was interacting with a bunch of adults too now with the big robot, and then after that Dean, and then after that it soon became his friends at home. And then the whole metaphor with the Iron Giant is just fucking incredible, man. I think this movie is beautiful. I like how quiet it is. It really takes its time to like let the audience resonate with these characters. It's just beautiful. Like I love it to death. But I'm really excited for what we watch next because oh my god, it's next movie. That next movie is a great follow up to your first.
I mean, I don't disagree, and I mean for this to be his like very big directorial debut on the big screen too. Like we didn't talk about that at all. What a like coming out party for Brad Bird. Like,
well, it was a long road to get to there. Like a long of him. He had so many projects that started and stopped, and then he worked with Spielberg, and then he worked at Disney, and then he got kicked out. Like this was him finally being like, "This is my chance."
Well, and I mean, the one thing that people always will remember from that long road was the Bartman music video, because he was the one who did the Bartman music video.
Bartman.
So he had done work on The Simpsons and things like that as well. So he was a very great and trained filmmaker that was just looking to finally break out, and it finally happened. It happened to be this film, and it's almost sad and yet so kind of also making like it also makes sense in a way that it would be a bomb out the gate after all that time, but now it's like lived on in the movie itself, you know, is almost a metaphor for what happened with the movie, where everyone was excited for it, then it didn't do that well, and then but yet it seemed to live on after the fact. And I kind of
it's so
love
relevant
that.
today. There's themes in it right now that I could really like relate our current situation to in this film.
Well, I think that
absolutely. The film itself just has like staying power. Like everybody knew, like, oh, this is a classic. Like this is just gonna stick with us.
And it continues to this day. There's a reason it's still my favorite Brad Bird film. I mean, I just think it's so powerful and it says so much, and it does it in so little time. And it does
so goddamn rewatchable. It is so
no, absolutely. And the casting, again, across the board is just so fantastic. Everyone is so perfectly cast to be these characters that they were put in here to be. Like, I think that voice acting can be really great when you use bigger actors. Don't get me wrong. Some of them are very talented at voice acting, but when you're casting people to be the characters versus casting them because of their name, I think it just hits differently altogether. And I think that especially right here with this film really shows, because you know, Jennifer Aniston was huge at the time for Friends, but at the same time, she's surrounded by people who were not exactly huge actors. He got a lot of character actors, and I love that.
Yeah.
But, you know, I'm really glad that we got to do this and that we kind of made Brad Bird Month happen in the end, even though I know we had pushed it. But, Evan, how about you go ahead real quick and take us back through the announcements for the rest of the week, and we can get out of here.
All right. Mayana. Famous Last Words, episode 10 with Chris Clark. Make sure you guys are there. If not, then you are square. It's going to be a really good time. I hope you two are going to be live in the chat asking Chris Clark random questions so we can have him stumble on his words like I am now. And then Wednesday, so excited to talk about the music of this album. Hamilton with Alex Marzonia, Maxwell Haddad, and BJ Campbell. Dude, Hamilton came out this weekend. From my bubbles, I've seen nothing but positive reactions. Like, it's such a cultural phenomenon, and the fact that we're going to be able to talk about each song individually, I'm just so excited for. PJ, any thoughts about that?
I mean, look, I'm just excited to talk about it. It was one of the things that I worked really hard on throughout watching the show the other night, was that I didn't want to specifically talk about a lot of the music because I wanted to save that conversation for this show. Yeah. And I think that it worked out. I think we had great guests, including Hogue, on that episode on a watch along for Hamilton. And so now we're going to get to dive into the music, and I think that's spectacular.
All right. And then you can talk about this a little bit more yourself, but Friends Under Menacing featuring the Joe Iconis.
Yeah, again, he is one of my favorite working composers and Broadway writers out there right now. Broadway Bounty Hunter, if you guys have never seen it, the cast album's actually out right now. You can check that out. He has done so much amazing work. I can't wait to sit down and talk with him. He's just a very delightful individual. He also loves horror movies and things like that. Like, he is really one of us. So I think if you guys really want to come check it out, even if you don't know who he is, I really, really recommend being here on Thursday, just getting to know Joe Iconis and his music. I think it's going to be a lot of fun, and I hope you guys will be there.
Hell yeah. And then on Friday, we are going to be watching
Psych. I am so excited. I can't wait to have you guys enjoy Psych. I know, again, it's going to be your guys' first time with Psych just in general. And I can't think of a better way to do it than with this movie. I think that it's like all the best things about Psych with having the original cast come back. Zachary Levi is the villain in it, which I thought was like such a cool choice for them to do that. And it looks like in the new one, I don't want to say, but Joel McHale is the villain in the second one. So they really go for like these kind of very geeky, iconic actors for our generation. And I love that.
PJ, would you say you're psyched to watch it?
I am psyched to watch it.
Say Psych right now, Hogue. Say Psych.
Psych.
Thank you. Okay, and then Saturday, family game night. We haven't made the graphic for it yet, but I can tell you it's the name of a Beyonce and a Jay-Z song. So if you want to do your research into what that could be, and
we're doing Family Feud, Evan. We're doing Family Feud.
Come on. I didn't want to give it away, okay? But it's Family Feud. I guess we're doing Family Feud. And then Monday, we're doing an Incredibles watch along. Sorry for the grainy graphic. I didn't have a good JPEG of it, so I literally zoomed in on my Facebook Messenger app to the graphic that we had. But there it is, The Incredibles, and I'm really excited for that because that's really what popularized Brad Bird and him becoming a household name for all of us.
Oh, totally. And then, of course, the last thing. Next Friday, Psych 2, Lassie Come Home. I am super excited about this one, and we'll get to talk all about why once we get to it. But there's so much to unpack with that. In general, it being a Peacock launch title is going to be very interesting. I think Star Drew has been asking if Psych is in Canada. I believe it should be. I think Peacock is going to be in Canada next week on release, so you guys should be able to watch it. I know the first one right now is on Amazon, Hulu, and a couple of other places. It's very easy to get a hold of to watch it with us, so there shouldn't be any problems. Anyone coming in to watch Psych, and again, for me, it's a show that means a lot to me, and it ended up becoming a movie series that means a lot to me. So I'm very excited to share it with you guys. And I know that some of the other panel who will be here that night also feel the same. Maxwell Haddad is a huge fan as well. Kristen Smith, we have Dan and I coming back to do it as well. We got a whole party of people, plus Evan and Hogue. So it's going to be a good weekend.
All right. And I think that's going to wrap us up. Hogue, where can the people see your beautiful face?
Here. Other content, Psych. Check out my Instagram and Twitter at Hogue_filmmaker. Check out my short films that I write and direct that are on my Vimeo page. Just look up Patrick Hogue. Check out my latest short film, So, on Crypt TV. Still there, doing well. And check out my friend Brian Montgomery's short film, Chickens. You can find it on, like I said, Alt Horror, ALT Horror. It's on YouTube. It's on their website. It's a great film. Share it. Spread the message. Yeah.
Yeah, it's all right, Evan. Where can everyone find you?
I'm here at Degraff Live on Twitter. I go live. Oh my god, I'm on here a lot. Tuesday, Wednesday, maybe Friday. I don't know yet, and then definitely Saturday.
No, you're gonna be here. I don't care whether you want to be or not. You got to watch Psych with us.
Why are you making me watch Psych?
Because it's good. Just fucking be here.
All right, I'll be here. Yeah, I guess you guys can find me there too. But follow me on Twitter. I post funny things sometimes. Bye, guys.
All right, guys. And you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at PJ_Campbell. You can find me here every other night or so. We hang out. We do a lot of cool stuff. And you can find me over at the Movie Trivia Schmodown, where I write questions for the show. And I hope you guys are enjoying it. Again, you guys, please stay safe. Wear your masks. I know it's a soapbox issue, but please wear your masks. I can't state enough how important that is. Again, one last time, we just want to send our condolences and our thoughts to Nick Cordero's family at this time. A massive loss for this community, and we are going to miss him very, very much. But COVID's no joke, guys. Be safe out there, and we will see you guys tomorrow for Famous Last Words or Friday for the Psych Watch Along. Talk to you all soon. Bye, guys.
I want to be so long. Farewell to you, my friend. Goodbye for now, until we meet again. I said so long. Farewell to you, my friend. Goodbye for now, until we meet again. Oh, it's been great to play and sing together in the box, and now it's time to say goodbye. Ooh, so long, farewell to you, my friend. Goodbye, oh, for now, until we meet again. Goodbye, for now, until we meet again.